Hello, wherever you are in this part of the world or in part of Kenya, Africa, I hope you are keeping it sober. This is yet another episode of the series on addiction. And today, I have yet another entertaining, and not only entertaining, but educative video on exercise, specifically when it comes to addiction. Exercise is necessary if you want to win any journey in life. Exercise helps in a big way. It's not about the biceps or the triceps or whatever it is. It's not about building a big body. It's about building yourself mentally. And you know, one thing that addiction does is it affects you mentally in a big way. Mentally, you become drained. Mentally, you become stressed up and depressed. It's very rare to get somebody who has gotten to the biggest level, specifically that end stage of alcoholism or gambling, without thinking of suicide, without thinking, you need a total mental turnaround if you're going to beat addiction. And one way you can help win the war on addiction is through exercise. Let me give you an example. Let me give you a few reasons to why you exercise. Number one, exercise helps in the release of dopamine. You know, most of the time when we drink, specifically the first time or gamble, there is a chemical which is released in the body, which is in the brain, which is called dopamine. Dopamine is the same hormone or same chemical that is released when we exercise or when we walk out there and we feel good. It makes us feel good. So the moment you drink once, that one time, the dopamine is released, and it gets to a point where the brain becomes tolerant to the dopamine. That's that you have to drink more, you have to gamble more to release the same kind of dopamine. That's why you get that no matter the losses you make in gambling or drinking, you keep on doing these things because it has gotten to a point where you have to do it for dopamine to be released in your brain. So when now you start exercise, we call it substitute addiction, one of them being exercising. You now start releasing this dopamine. Number two, you release another hormone called the serotonin. Serotonin is the happiness hormone. It helps you to be happy. It makes you happy. It makes you in a way to start now feeling and enjoying life. You see, your old way of enjoying life was drinking with your buddies. Your old way of conviviality was gambling and drinking and bang using. Now you have a replacement. Now when you exercise, you start feeling better. Your body, and you know, like I always say, it's like that dog which has been used to a bell ringing and meat being there, and the more you keep ringing the bell and it finds that there is meat, it doesn't have to smell the smell of the meat. And immediately there is a bell, it comes in and takes the meat. So now when you start teaching your brain that it can enjoy life without drinking, it can enjoy life with exercising now, that's how now you're going to change the things in your life. Another chemical released in the brain is the oxytocin. When you exercise, oxytocin helps you when it comes to attraction to another partner. Very many times we have been told that a man who keeps on drinking all the time, when I was in gambling, you would never ever think about even approaching a lady or anything of that sort. My biggest dream was about how I'm going to get the next bet or how I'm going to get the next drink. There was nowhere that I was concentrating on life and even having a partner. And the way I hated myself, there is no way I would have loved somebody else. Now it got to a point where exercise makes you feel good about yourself. And I told you the only way to build self-esteem is doing difficult things in your life. The other hormone released in the brain is called BDNF. The brain-derived neurotrophic factor. This is one of the best. It helps to feel charged up. That's why I tell you every day when you wake up, specifically, I call us the 5 a.m. club according to Robin Sharma. Find that book, it's called the 5 a.m. club. And you learn about waking up at 5 a.m. And the first thing you do at 5 a.m. for 20 minutes, make sure you do a sweaty exercise. It will help you in producing the BDNF. In the morning, you might not feel charged up, you might not have the energy. So to keep having energy the whole day, and you know, the key to being legendary and to performing at your level best is energy and having passion. Once you see a man who sleeps the whole day, once you see a man who has no energy and passion, worry about that man because he can do dangerous things. It's very dangerous when you see a man who sleeps the whole day or a woman who sleeps the whole day without doing nothing. So BDNF will help you charged up, will help you to keep on doing whatever you do. You need a lot of energy the whole day. The other thing is that in the morning when you wake up specifically, that's when the levels of cortisol is the fear hormone. It's the hormone that makes you to fear. It's the hormone that makes you to fear living the comfort zone you've been in. And you know, somebody in addiction has been in the comfort zone, living in clubs, living in the streets. Now to move from that level to another level which you have never gone to, you require some level of living that fear zone. And one thing you need to realize is that successful people and people who have gone out of addiction, it's not that they don't fear, but they use the fear as fuel to keep growing and to keep on pushing and pushing. So what exercise does is that it helps you in making sure that the levels of cortisol are low. It makes sure that this fear hormone is not produced at the biggest level. The other one is that exercise helps you in terms of sleep. You're able to sleep productive sleep. So one other thing you need to add is that even the night before you sleep, make sure you switch off your phone. That blue light, make sure that you don't release the melatonin. Melatonin is the hormone that tells your body to sleep. So the moment you make sure that the phone is away, at least you're able to sleep for longer hours and live a productive life. And there's a difference even by somebody, a quality and a quantity sleep. Somebody can sleep for 5 hours and it's a quality sleep. And the only way you're going to be productive the next day if you sleep better. So if you can exercise even when you have no sleep, specifically for those of us who are new in recovery, because when you're new in recovery, you don't have even enough sleep. So make sure that you walk out there and exercise, and you'll be able to get a quality and a good amount of sleep. The other hormone which is released is called the neuropinephrine. The neuropinephrine helps you in the focus, helps you to focus better. Very rarely have we seen somebody who is in addiction who focuses. Most of us have anxiety issues. To even stay in a place for more than 10 minutes, it's a problem. So when you bring in exercise, it helps you release this hormone that helps you to maintain the focus the whole day, even for weeks and months. One thing you need to know if you're in addiction right now, there are two parts of the brain. There is the mastery brain and the primary brain, yeah? And the primary brain, which is the past brain, which was used to fighting, which was used to be in the past in the comfort zone, is fighting with the mastery brain. And there's a gray matter which is being released in the brain called the amygdala. The amygdala wants you to focus and to go forward. It wants you to even to the best levels of you as an individual. And everybody has a potential to get to the best level. I wish you can know that as an addict. You can get to the levels you want to get to if you really knew who you are. If you really brought down that mentality that you are cast or you don't belong to where you are supposed to be at, and start focusing on the future and on who you want to be, taking it a day at a time. When you exercise, it helps you to get into a place where you now start striving. You have a high self-esteem. You want to get to the best level you could have ever gotten to. I wish you can make that decision to start exercising today. And most importantly, even after exercising, make sure you find your own Menlo Park. I always talk about the Menlo Park. That place where it's a quiet place, where it is full of stillness, silence, and serenity, where you can read and meditate and do a good amount of work in the morning. Stop putting on the music or even watching the news in the morning or even reading emails or WhatsApp texts in the morning. That first hour, take it as a victory hour. What that does, if you have a serene and a silent moment, is that it helps your brain to get to the genius level. It's called the free flow state of mind. I mean, you get to a place where the prefrontal cortex, which is involved in your growth, specifically in your brain, which is involved in your growth, it gets to a level where we call it the transient hyperfrontality. And one thing, when you're in this state, you can perform at your level best. That's how you're going to ace it in your industry. And you know, the key to legendary is longevity. So focus on building durability. It's not about speed. It's not about how many minutes. That's why anybody who is gambling thinking that they're going to get money, I mean, that is short-term success, and it will go because it doesn't have the necessary connections. It doesn't have the necessary, character to build and to maintain that wealth. That's why you need to focus on building something that will help you get to the top. It's the same thing. If you use these things, we call them the drugs you take so that you can get bigger body parts. I mean, if you use such kind of drugs, after a short time they can start affecting you. But if you follow the bigger process, which is the better one, gym process, if you get to the gym every day, because this is part of exercise, first they will start you off with 5 kg weights. They can't give you the 100 kg weights immediately. They will start you off with 10 kgs, 5 on this side and 5 on this side. They will be heavy on you for the first few days. Then you get to a point where you are doing it easy after a month or so. Then the second month they give you 20 kgs. Just like that, after a few years, you'll be able to get to 100 with no problem. That's the same thing when it comes to life. Exercise will help you to build durability. It will help you to take things a day at a time and slow and growth. That's what we are looking for, durability, success that is consistent and success that has substance, success which you'll be able to enjoy. The only success you'll be able to enjoy is that which you have worked for, not that which you have gotten illegally or in a quick way. So work on having exercise in your body. It will help you by producing those hormones, and from today you realize that in a big way you'll be able to quit addiction. This is the mentality I want you to have. I want you to have the same mentality of a lion. You wake up today, when your body feels like you don't want to exercise, go out there and exercise. Walk out there. You don't even one thing you need to do when you're exercising in the morning specifically or in the evening. Stop putting on headphones when running. I've never seen Kipchoge, the marathon runner, having headphones on him running, because he doesn't need that motivation to run. He does it because he wants to, even when the body doesn't feel like it wants to do it. I mean, when you teach your brain to do things at a time when not many people can do it, or even at a day when not many people can do it, it will get to a point where even if it wants to use drugs, it won't use, because you have already taught it to you have already taught your brain not to control you. One way you can teach your brain not to control you is exercising when you feel like you don't want to exercise. Most of the time when I go to exercise, it's raining. And one thing I do when I'm exercising and it starts raining, I remember that so many people, if they found themselves training and it's raining, they will go out there complaining or blaming the weather or whining and saying it's because of the weather I ran away. I use that to my advantage. I will exercise and I will take it as a blessing that it's raining when I'm exercising, which means that my exercise is blessed. So use everything that happens in your life in a positive way. Go out there, exercise when it's raining, exercise when it's cold, exercise when it's dark. That way you are teaching your brain a kind of a different mentality. You know, in the past you are used to drinking at any time without, even at your workplace, your body used to control you. Now, teach it not to control you. That's how you're going to build discipline. Like I told you, motivation is for boys. Real men get to work. Real men have to have discipline. I want you to check these bodybuilders. For you to be a professional bodybuilder, it takes almost 10 years for you to be a professional bodybuilder. For that we can watch you on the internet or on TV, it takes you 10 years. Constant building yourself. So if you started that just because you are out there for motivation or you wanted the money, how many will take all those years training? And these people take proteins, they take food, or if you ask them, they are not taking this food so that they can quench the hunger, or they are taking it to build themselves and to with a reason, with a purpose. That's why they take these amounts of food, and they take it. Everything is controlled and regulated for all those years so that they can get on the stage. Another thing, Usain Bolt says, they train for years and months only to perform for 9 seconds. His world record is at 9:58 seconds. So they trained for years to only get in the field for 9:58. So when we saw them on public, we never saw what was happening. You know, Deion Sanders, the Colorado Buffaloes coach, says one thing, that he used to exercise so hard that when it came to the real game, it felt like practice. I was watching today Cristiano Ronaldo talking about the way he has to shoot more than 100 free kicks before he gets to the real free kick in the field. It takes so many. That's the same thing. Stop expecting things to happen in a quick way. If you're going to start exercising today to beat addiction, do it even when you don't feel like. Set goals. Say like, today I'm going to run 10 laps. Even if it's going to take the whole day, make sure you finish the 10 laps. That way you're going to build some kind of self-esteem in your body, that I can set goals in my life and make sure that I finish them. I can set projects. I can be honest with myself, because as an addict, you are never honest to yourself. You're never honest to your promises. You wake up saying, I will never drink again, but you find yourself in the same drink the next minute. So one way you can build the honesty and self-love and self-esteem in your body is by making sure that when you say I'm running 10 laps, I am going to run 10 laps. Don't make sure that it's not a small range of goals that you say you're only going to run 2 laps. Or you set a big standard which is unrealistic. Set a standard which is not that big and it's not that small. In a way that before you get to it, you're going to struggle together. And that's how you're going to keep on building the self-esteem. Why don't you start today? Why don't you start exercising from now on? Make sure you exercise 2 times, in the morning and in the evening. In the evening, it will help you to have a productive sleep. In the morning, on the other hand, it will help you to have a productive day. That's the best thing about exercise. You're worthy sober. Keep at it. And one thing you need to do is that legends and recovery gurus, they do things which not many people would do them, and even they do them at a time where not many people would do them at that time. Do that. When other people are out there clubbing and doing all that, you're out there exercising. You're doing that for your recovery. You don't go to clubs anymore. You don't do all these things. These things are not for you. Remember, alcohol and gambling is poison to you. That's the only thing you need to know. I went to the other guy I saw the other day on YouTube saying that on 1st January, when everybody is out there taking excessive meals and all that, he's in the office working. And that's on 1st January, he exercises the longest the whole year. He will exercise for almost 7 hours in the gym and work for 5 hours the same day. Do you know how much discipline you have taught yourself by just doing that? Or when everybody is celebrating it's a New Year's Eve, you're out there in the gym. That's how you're going to build discipline in such a way that no matter the amount of goals you set during the year, it will be easy for you to do that. Why don't you teach yourself to do such kind of things? You shower with cold water, you exercise when your body doesn't want you to exercise. That way you're going to keep, if you start doing these things today, I promise you, without expecting quick and immediate results, because if you go out there for the biceps, they might never come in a few years. But the more you do them, one day they will come. That's the thing I'm telling you. No matter how many times you fall, keep at it. Eventually, you are going to be in recovery. I love you. Let's meet next week. Thank you.